If you're planning to study in Canada, how do I get started? How do I choose a course? All of these things are just so overwhelming. So you are in the right video, or you are actually watching the right video, because in this video, I will talk about, the best things that, or some of the things that you can do before actually applying for admission, to any course in Canada. So how do you get started? The very first thing you want to consider is your CG, your graduating GPA. That is, if you've already finished high school, you finished your university, and you're thinking about, I want to further my studies. Then, do I go for a master's, a postgraduate diploma, an ordinary diploma? What exactly should I do? Number one, if your CGPA is less than a second class upper, okay, I would say it is always very difficult to get admission in a lot of the universities for masters in Canada. So in that case, more like applying for masters, or apply for masters is already kind of out of the way. You may still get some, maybe opportunities if you have a low GPA, if you can really write a very strong SOP and kind of justify why your GPA is low. They may consider, especially maybe out of 5.0, you are, let's say, 3.4 out of 5.0. But if you are 3.0 out of 5.0, just forget about it. Just go apply for a postgraduate diploma or an ordinary diploma. That's the first thing. If you are straight out of high school, you can apply for any course. Okay, that is if maybe you graduated from your high school 2 or 3 years ago, or maybe last year ago. It's when you can apply for any course, as far as you can explain why you're applying for that course. It's very okay. Look at your final secondary school certificate and seeing the courses you passed, and then from there you'll be able to decide what your strength lies, and then you can apply. So let's go back to the business. You discover that you can apply for masters because of GPA. Now masters is tracked out. Now you're not left with a diploma, postgraduate. Now there are two things. You can either apply to a postgraduate diploma in a university or in a college. The thing with university graduate, postgraduate diploma programs is that most times they are still as competitive as what you will have for their master's program, right? So it's actually more difficult to get admission into some of those graduate programs, because you have to write SOP and do one of these things here and there. That's another thing. Get a reference letter, almost the same thing like you're applying for a master's. Now, if you don't want to do that, the thing is, the admission is very competitive, okay? The one that is actually a little bit less competitive is admission in colleges, okay? You can apply for a postgraduate diploma, and sometimes people may ask, oh, I already have a bachelor's degree. If I go apply for a postgraduate diploma now, will it not seem like it is a downgrade? No, it is about the course that you apply, how it relates to what you're currently doing, a job, and all of those things. If it helps your career, it's very okay. In fact, you can even apply for an ordinary diploma, as far as it enhances your current job or whatever you're currently doing. It is fine. But if it doesn't relate, let's say you did your bachelor's degree in engineering, you just straight out of high school, and you're going to apply for a postgraduate diploma in education, and you don't, how are you going to convince, right? Except to say, oh, I want to go into LHI, I want to start teaching, and you write a very strong SOP, it's okay, but don't deviate too much, okay? So whether postgraduate or diploma, it doesn't matter, okay? As far as you can justify, it's okay. But if you can get a postgraduate, it's okay. Whether 1 year or 2 years, I would say if you get a 1 year, of course, 1 year equal to 1 year work permit, right? Postgraduation work permit. 2 years equal to 3 years. If you can get one, if you want to get 1 year, I would advise, if you can get it in a province like New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, it's okay. But Ontario, yeah, it's not so juicy, right? Because the provincial nomination is not very friendly, right? So if you go into Ontario, it's best to do a 2 years program, so they can have enough time to look for a job, especially when your age is, on the high side, because the higher you go in your age, it actually reduces your score in the Canadian Experience class for the Express entry. Now, The second thing is actually not going to be choosing a course. Okay, so like I already explained, look at your background or your BSc, and then if you're a fresh graduate, let's say you did engineering, let's say computer engineering for your BSc, now you want to specialize in networking, you can apply for a postgraduate diploma in that area. My advice is don't apply for the same thing. Oh, you did electrical engineering in your bachelor's, now you apply for electrical engineering in postgraduate diploma. It doesn't really fly much. Okay, think about something now, a niche in that area. Okay, it will really, if you maybe you study medical laboratory or biochemistry, you want to do biotechnology here, or quality control, quality assurance, and production management, see how you're more like picking that big area and niching it out, right? If you've done business before your undergrad, now you want to do international business, that is also fine, because you want to get, maybe you can say, want to get more international exposure and all that. Another thing is also looking at your current job, right? If you graduated, for those that graduated long time ago, look at your current job and then examine, okay, yeah, this is going to be the best option to justify my job. And especially if you have a business, applying for something related to business is always a good option. You can also say, oh, I run a business, I want to actually now go and learn more about business and all that. If you're working in the sales area, if your degree was in engineering, you can apply for business, sales, and marketing. It is fantastic, right? If you've been working as maybe you did engineering, now you're working in quality control and assurance or production, you can apply for something like that in the postgraduate diploma. And if you're straight off high school, you can also just choose anything. And when choosing a course, also think about the job prospect, right, of that particular course in the province. You can just Google maybe you want to apply for computer networking, just Google some of the jobs offered that are available, and see if it is something that is high in demand in that particular area. And especially for a province like Alberta, if you want to do the express entry and get nomination from Alberta, there are specific criteria, working in a job that is high demand in the province, right? That's why you should look at all of those high jobs in demand and say, oh, this particular job that I'm choosing, is it high in demand? The next thing you want to consider is the start date. Okay, people do some kind of unimaginable things. Some people have come to me in June and be like, Peter, can I still get a school for September? I was like, what the hell are you talking about? So it is not really planned ahead, at least a month. Sorry, not a month, 6 months to 8 months to 1 year to the start of the program, so that they can have enough time to put your documents together for visa. You don't just want to quickly just put some things together and apply. By the time you deny, you're not running helter-skelter. It's not the best thing. Don't rush it. I don't know what people are just going to say, I just want to leave by January. If it's not January, then that's it. No. Take your time to plan. At least give yourself 6 to 8 months to the start of the program, because maybe sometimes it might be, for example, it might be June, let's say September, and you're thinking about starting in January. Yeah, there may be some schools open like that, but if let's say you apply in September, you get an admission maybe sometime early October, you have to put 1 or 2 things together, apply for visa. Sometime by the time maybe they get response, who have already resumed, or maybe you have to reapply, So those are some of the things you consider. Apply way ahead, okay, so that you can have enough time to. There's nothing to rush. You want to come to Canada, you will come. You want to get PRO, you will come. Don't say, I just want to come to Canada, I want to get the PRO. You get the PRO and what next? Okay, so PRO is not the end of the thing in Canada. So don't just base all your choice is, I want to get PR, you will get it. As far as you're here, you play your card, but you will definitely get it, okay? The next thing is going to be the documents that are needed for admission, okay? You can start preparing ahead of time. You might apply for some colleges or some schools. They will tell you, send your transcript from your school to this part to us directly. So this is some of the arrangements you have to think about. Oh, is my school is going to I can approach and say, please send this transcript. Is it readily available? Have you even gotten your transcript? Have you got your international? In fact, if you don't have your international passport, you shouldn't even be actively looking for things like that. That is the first thing. Get your international passport, get your transcript, try to get it by hand, okay, as much as possible. I know sometimes people say they don't get by hand, but find a way, because A lot of times these days, some schools don't really require to send transcripts to them via courier, right? They just want you to upload it and do your application, and that they're okay, right? It's too much stress to be waiting for your transcript to be couriered to them, right? So plan ahead of time, know the school you want to apply for, and then start putting the documents together. Okay, another thing you want to consider is the location. Okay, nobody's going to do this for you, right? You may have heard people talking about, Ontario is this, Ontario is that. There are still a lot of good benefits about Ontario. There are lots and lots of job offer, and you still get high paying jobs as well, right? So not all the time though, think about the location, right? If you're looking for Ontario, there are some places like Georgian College that is in Barrie, not still in mainstream on Toronto, right? You can look for some other like Loyalist College, that is not like mainstream Toronto, like an hour or two from Toronto. It's gonna be less. Okay, you must not go to Seneca or Humber College, that George Brown College, that and in the heart of Toronto, right? So check the location. And sometimes I tell people, you cannot have everything. Some people are looking for a city, they are looking for a course that is very cheap, affordable, that they have a lot of job offers when you graduate, that have a PRO, quick PRO, and they have everything. You can't really get everything, right? So have your top right. If you can see a place, for example, most of those colleges that are really affordable, they are in very small cities, right? It's not so busy. It doesn't mean you won't get jobs there, but it is usually less. At least they still have malls and some of the grocery stores and all that, and they can work. You can work at that, but there might be lesser jobs in some of those smaller cities. So do your research, check the city, watch videos about the city, and you can watch videos about honest reviews about the city. People that have in the city do some videos about that. Do your research, and then you should be, before you decide, if this is actually worth it. Okay. And then the last thing that I would say before actually thinking about applying for your admission is, think about the cost. Okay, if you want to get an affordable school, I've done a lot of videos in terms of looking at costs and all of those things. And most importantly, think about the proof of funds. It's not just to apply for admission and then that's about it. So think about the proof of funds early. I don't like in this situation after you've gotten the admission and think, what do I do for proof of funds? So don't. But these are some of the things you think ahead and think of, what am I going to do with proof of funds? This will also help you to decide if you want to apply for a school that at least more affordable compared to the more expensive one, so that at least whatever you need to shoot for with proof of funds is going to reduce. Okay, so if you follow all of these steps, I think you should be just fine. And applying for the admission, documents needed: international passport, your transcript, if you apply from high school graduate, your high school transcript. If you already graduated, your international, your BSc or your diploma, certificate and transcript. If you apply for colleges, for the most times you don't need reference letter. Most times you don't need SOP. Maybe a few courses may ask you to get your SOP. If you're applying for masters, think about people are going to use for your referees, ahead of time. Talk to them ahead of time, right? And then when you do that, I think you should be just fine. And then note the deadline. Okay, note the deadline, and then if you don't know the application opening date, you can send this one an email and ask them, when is the application going to open for this college, and then plan ahead and then apply early, so that when you apply, you have enough time to put documents together for your visa application, and then you can apply early, and then you should be just good. So if you still think you want to talk to me one-on-one, I offer a one-on-one mentorship program. I can guide you through this process. There's going to be a link in the description, www.gradnext.com. Check that, contact me, reach out to me, sign up, and then I'll be able to guide you through the process. So that's going to be it for this video. If you found it useful, click on the like button, and then it will help the YouTube algorithm recommend this video to other people. And at the same time, if you haven't subscribed, do it and subscribe, so that whenever new videos are released, you will be the first person to get notified. So once again, thank you so much for watching this video. I will see you in the next video. Cheers.